Today's video, I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about preparation.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying.
We moved from Massachusetts down here to Texas, and I was not expecting this kind of weather down here. I've seen so many news reports of people's pipes bursting, roofs caving in because the density of the snow is just too much for the roofs down here to handle. So we have a lot of people that were not expecting this, obviously, because this is not normal weather for Texas. I guess that's why I want to stress the importance of being prepared, because these things can happen at a moment's notice without giving any warning. You might not have anybody out there that can help you because they might have to tend to their own family and friends or people in need that are closer to them. In the condition of the roads down here, it's more than unlikely that anybody is going to come to help you because there's no salt on the roads, there's no sand, there's no plows. Texas was not prepared for this. You know, just the other day, I talked to you guys on my other video about the 100-car pileup over in Fort Worth, where 8 people died. So, I mean, that just gives you a good idea of how unprepared people are for this kind of weather, whether it's a man-made disaster or a natural disaster. In this case, I don't know if this is a natural disaster, but I have some theories on as to what caused this. I'm not going to really get into that in this video, but I do think it's man-made. With that being said, I just want to stress to you guys the importance of, you know, having the proper kind of clothing for this kind of weather. If you have a wood burning stove, then that's even better, because then you're completely independent when it comes to heat. You don't have to worry about the rising energy costs that we're seeing associated with this storm that they're saying on the news is not going to go away anytime soon. This is just another reason why people should prepare to the best of their abilities, because these things can come out of nowhere. There's so many people that are unprepared for this kind of weather. We already have all these people that are out of a job. Some people don't even have a place to live. We can go on and on about the morality of pushing people out of work for a crisis, but what happens when the weather starts taking over? What happens when people don't have enough food, enough water in times like this, when the grocery stores are probably closed because nobody can get there? So this is why food preparation, as well as preparing for inclement weather, is probably in your best interest. And that's why people make videos like this, because we like to stress the importance of being prepared. It has nothing to do with people getting up on their high horse to think that they're better than anybody else. This is something that I learned over time since I was a kid. I was in Boy Scouts as a kid, so that taught us a lot about self-sufficiency, being able to survive in conditions like this. I'm very thankful to have that kind of education where I don't need to rely on anybody else to take care of myself. I think that's the best piece of advice that anybody can give you. What good is a society that is completely dependent on a government? What good is a society that doesn't have independence, that doesn't have self-reliance? That's why people down here in Texas, they work together. This has absolutely nothing to do with this kind of weather. It has more to do with the kind of people that live down here. People like to help each other out down here in Texas. They work together to some degree. You know, when you have neighbors that live out in a rural area, you'll probably see more of that. And, you know, what I'd like to see is more of that going on in the suburban and urban environments, because what good are people when they don't help each other out? I guess what I'm trying to really stress here, to my point, is that the government is not going to be there to help you, okay? Look at what's going on in Texas. Is the government coming to the rescue? No, okay? It's people helping other people out. That's what's going on. All this money getting thrown around by the government has done absolutely nothing to help the people out down here. And I think that's very sad, because these are people that pay taxes, okay? These are people that pay property taxes, and you would think that they would factor something like this into, I don't know, taking care of the roads, you know, but that's not the case, because the roads down here require minimal care because the weather isn't that cold and there's not snow. But after yesterday's storm, I'm sure they're going to be rethinking a lot of things if they have any common sense. Oh, right here in Big Sandy, Texas, where I live, in Texas, okay? East Texas. We had -2 degrees just the other night. I had to crank my heat constantly and my stove constantly. I don't have a wood burning stove down here, but I did have one back up in Massachusetts where I lived before. But down here, I wasn't expecting this. And, you know, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to preparedness. These things can happen at the most inopportune times for you. And that's why I can't stress enough that you should be prepared to some degree. And I am prepared for this kind of weather. I mean, I'm from the north, so I know what it's like to be cold. Trust me. I was homeless for about a month, living in my car up in Massachusetts during the wintertime, where I had to run my heat and sleep in my car. And, you know, thank God for, you know, not having to go through that again. Just to touch on that point a little bit more, there was this news article that I was reading of this family that had to sleep in their car because their heat went out. They didn't have electric. They were without power, as well as millions of other people down here in Texas, without power during the worst possible time that you can possibly imagine, the freezing cold. It's one thing if it's too hot out, because then you can just go outside, you know, hang out in the shade, drink enough water. But in times like this, you really have to stay warm. You know what I mean? You really have to be diligent about these things, because they can sneak right up on you. You might expect your power is going to stay on. You know what I mean? This family in their car, they died because of carbon monoxide poisoning from sleeping in their car trying to run the heat to stay warm. You know, my heart goes out to them, and I feel very sorry for people like that. You know, that's why, you know, I can't stress enough that you got to be helping out the next person if you see somebody in need. It might not be a family member. It might not be a friend. It might just be some random person that you see on the side of the road or an underpass under a blanket, you know, crying for help. There was news reports of that as well. People out in the freezing cold, you know, homeless people. Just imagine what they're going through in a time like this. They probably haven't even been heard about yet, okay? So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more stories, you know, sad stories of people falling victim to this. That's just another reason why I can't stress enough the importance of, you know, preparedness, because, you know, you have to have some sort of backup plan if something happens, you know. For myself personally, I don't have a wood burning stove, but I do have sleeping bags. I have -degree sleeping bags, so I can withstand any of this. This is nothing new to me. I have everything ready to go. I have water preparations. I have food preparations. I have a small rocket stove, as you might have seen in one of my previous videos, the Combuus. These things can mean the difference between life and death. It's a small price to pay. What's your life worth? That's what I need to ask many of you guys tuning in out there, is what is your life worth? Because if it's not worth $100 for a rocket stove, or, you know, a few $100s for a good sleeping bag that can withstand this kind of weather, then you're pretty much wiping out any future potential that you might have over saving a few dollars. So that's why, you know, I think it's funny that a lot of people out there, the trolls especially, they like to comment about, oh, you're just advocating for people to go buy overpriced things. Actually, I'm advocating for people to buy reliable things. And with reliability comes a cost, okay? The cost might be a little bit more than paying for something from the dollar store. In times like this, you're gonna want good quality things. You're not gonna want something that's cheaply made in China, okay? You're gonna want something that was built right here at home, that's good for this weather. I'm just gonna get out of my car here in a second so you guys can see firsthand through my eyes what I'm seeing down here in Texas and the devastation that most people are witnessing today here by the millions, okay? We're talking pipes bursting. My washing machine inlet valve froze and bursted, and I got water all over my kitchen, okay? So I had to clean that up. I have to order a new pot for my washing machine. I can take care of that. That's no problem. But can many of those other people out there without a job right now? Can they? These stimulus packages aren't really covering much. They're probably giving people a little bit of time, but not enough to survive something like this. And I think that's the whole point of the state of the economy that we're in today, is that you're not going to have anybody out there to help you when it comes to the government. Because let's face it, are they really the best alternative for someone to come and help you? Or is there somebody else out there that can be better put to that task, like a family member or a friend? That's why I think it's best if people work together as a cohesive unit, you know, the same way that an ant farm would. We all have to live here, right? So what's the point in fighting over stupid shit? Like, who wins the election? It's stupidity like that that I can't stand. I think this really emphasizes why people should be prepared for something, not just, you know, for the weather, but anything like preparedness when it comes to a natural disaster. How the hell is anyone going to be prepared when the government has people at odds with each other? That should be the least of people's worries, is what the government and mainstream media are talking about. They've done nothing but make the situation worse. I think everybody can see that for what it is at this point. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. I would really appreciate that. I'm not running the heat because I'm trying to save gas. There's been so many reports of people's roofs caving in because they weren't, the houses weren't built for this. Okay, this is Texas. They're not thinking they're going to have snowstorms or -degree weather. Not once in 100 years has Texas experienced -degree temperatures. Well, that's why I think that this is a man-made disaster more so than a natural one. I can elaborate more on that, and I know that there's going to be people out there that call me the crazy whack job conspiracy theorist for saying this. I have proof that can back up what I'm saying. I have patents that I can show you to back up what I'm saying. I'm not gonna really get into that. I'm gonna get out of the car here right now and show you guys the state of the roads and show you what's going on in my area. Yeah, look at this. This is crazy, isn't it? Texas. Something you'd never expect to happen. So when people tell you to expect the unexpected, this is a prime example. This is the road, okay? There's no plows, there's no sand, there's no salt. Helicopter pad full of snow. Volunteer fire department, nobody there. So this is why you need to have people that can help you out in times of need, because sometimes you're not going to have people there to help you when you really need it. And it's starting to snow again today. We're at about 20 degrees today, so it's pretty chilly, but nothing compared to the other night when I had to crank my electric range to help heat my house up, because we just aren't prepared for this, not this kind of weather. And exactly why you need to have preparations even when you don't think you're going to need them. This kind of weather can be a big problem for a lot of people, especially the elderly that live alone, that don't have anybody to come and check on them to make sure they're okay, especially if they're without power, or if you have a situation like this right here where a tree branch collapses and falls on your roof because it freezes and breaks. Nobody is prepared for this. My chickens are not even prepared for this. They're so cold that they won't even leave their coop. Come on, guys, I gotta feed you. But I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I gotta feed my chickens, gotta take care of my animals. And I will talk to you all very soon. I really hope you enjoy my content, so if you can, please leave a like on today's video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. One last thing before I get out of here, guys. I can't stress to you enough the importance of being prepared for something like this when it comes to the temperatures, the freezing cold. I really quickly also want to go over why you should be prepared financially for something like this, because there's going to come a time when costs of energy, of food, of goods and services is just going to go through the roof, and you're not going to be able to afford it. Holding on to US dollars seems like a very risky bet at this point, given the state of the economy, the state of our government, the state of the worldwide economy, and global governments. So that's why I think it's very important for you guys to be diversifying at least a little bit into gold and silver. I don't really have a preference on where you should buy from. I buy from multiple online exchanges that are very reliable, and that's what I would advocate for you guys to do. If you can find a reliable exchange that has your precious metal in stock and they have a track record of being reliable, then I'd say use them. That's a good resource. And at a time like this, I can't tell you guys enough about the importance of gold and silver, because we've seen recently the price go up, and that happened unexpectedly. That came without a moment's notice. What are people out there going to do if they're hit with an unexpected financial disaster as well as a man-made or a natural disaster at the same time? If you want the perfect storm, this is how you get it, okay? You see what you see going on here in Texas, and you see what you see going on with the economy, and then you have the perfect storm where people are not able to take care of themselves. That's why it is so imperative for everybody out there tuning in today to do the best that they can to prepare to the best of their abilities, starting right now. It's very important for your survival as well as your families or your friends. That's why I would ask everybody out there to please spread this message. Please share my video. I would very much appreciate it. It also helps to support my channel. It helps to support you in many ways, because people are going to look to you for answers in times like this. People that know what's going on are going to be looked to for information, for help, okay? That's why it's our duty as human beings to be there for one another, because there's going to come a time when other people may need us, especially at a time like right now. But guys, I'm going to get out of here. I really appreciate you guys tuning into my channel.